Hey guys, retired at 40. I got my next piece to the Promaster puzzle, and it's actually not this lumber right here. It's down at my feet. So these are my new seat swivel brackets. Alright, so let's take a look and see what we've got here. So right off the bat, I noticed no instructions included. And I do remember on the eBay listing there was a really good write-up with pictures and instructions. So it does actually give you real nice directions. The other thing I'm noticing is there's not any hardware. No nuts and bolts, that kind of stuff. So I guess you're on your own for that. I mentioned that this is the second set that I bought. This being the main reason why I wanted this set, because with the first set I ran into the problem with the airbag wires, but this one gives you plenty of room. It's also pretty low profile. Some of them are not very low profile, and it lifts the seat up quite a bit, which is not very desirable. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to do is there's 6 Torx screws that need to be removed. So there's what a T40 looks like. Some people call them a star bit. To get this seat and the bracket to come all the way off, I'm going to actually lay down a moving blanket so I can lay the seat back onto it. The first thing you need to do, slide the seat all the way to the rear, and then you can access these 2 front screws. And then there's your first bolt. And then you're just going to do the same on the right side of the front. Alright, so once you've gotten those 2 front screws taken out, slide this all the way forward, and then your other 4 screws are right here. There's 2 here, 2 here. And I kind of want to talk about the reason why I bought the bracket that I did. Their price was $199 for each bracket, which is about half the price of everywhere else that I found. And I just couldn't see spending $800 on having the satisfaction of swiveling on my seat, so $400 sounded a lot better to me. And so I think we're all loose except for the wiring, maybe. Yeah, I want to do a test fit of this bracket right here, but before I do that, I think I'm going to take these. There's a couple of zip ties here, and I think I'm going to cut those real quick just to give us a little bit more slack in the line. Alright, that gives us quite a bit more room to play with. Oh yeah, that's much better. So this gives us complete access to this whole bracket now. So the next thing we need to do, since we're working with wiring and that airbag harness underneath the seat, is we need to get to the battery and disconnect the battery. There's 6 little pieces that need to come undone. This one just turns with a hand, but for the other ones you want a quarter or like a $50 or something. They fit into that spot real nice, and you can just twist them loose. That is a monster size battery. That's good news if you're going off grid. Bad news when you want to replace it, because I'm guessing it's probably pretty expensive. So we're just going to disconnect the negative or the ground, and there's just a little clasp right here. You just flip that open and kind of work it loose, and it'll come off that post. And then we're just going to set it on the side here. Okay, so we've got all of these loose, and don't forget this one right here as well. Alright, and that'll free up all these guys. Okay, and then you've got one more right here. Okay, so we need to get these 2 guys loose next, and there's just a couple of clasps on here. Some needle nose pliers works great if you can squeeze both sides, and that will just drop down in there. Once you get that done, there's one more right here. It's kind of tough to video, and that needs to come loose as well. So to get easy access to these, you can actually pull this whole big container out. You just need to twist this, and this will all pop loose and you can pull it out. And then we're going to undo these 2 harnesses, and then your seat should be free. So if you're thinking about buying one of these swivel seats, I want to show you the difference between the different options. And a lot of people, for their first option, and I actually made the mistake as well, which is why I have this sitting here, is I bought the wrong kind. You can get another model that's from discountvantruck.com that's the same price, $199 and $50 for shipping, but it does not have an access for all the airbag equipment. There's nowhere to feed the wires through. It will work, you can mount it, but you can't swivel it because it'll twist up all those wires. Alright, so now that we've got our plugs disconnected, we can kind of test fit our bracket. Alright, so I actually had this upside down. The side with the nuts on it will actually go up, and then this will push down when you want to rotate it. So the easiest way to access all of the places where you need to use the screws, again, you just use the same screws that you took out for the bottom piece, but you can line it up, you swivel it right or left a little bit. The drill pattern on here is pretty sloppy, and for this screw to sit down in here, it's not really biting on much. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a 5/16 washer, which was not included, and there was no other hardware included, so I don't know if they just forgot to send it to me, or they just don't do that normally. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a washer on the top of it just so it has a little extra surface area. So I've got the bottom part attached. I noticed something that's pretty cool. It locks into place on directly forward, and then at an angle facing back, and then it will also do 180 degrees. It'll lock in there. So that was pretty painless. I'm gonna put the seat back on. I'm gonna show you the next reason why I really wanted this style, because all this junk just goes right through this giant hole, and once it's attached, we'll give it lots of room to travel freely. You won't have to worry about it getting tangled up. Alright, so let's get this top part of the bracket on. Luckily I keep a slew of hardware on hand at all times, but it's kind of annoying that they don't give you the right hardware. Otherwise I'd be making a run to the hardware store and spending more money, by the way. But what you want is a 5/16 bolt, and the one that works the best is a 3/4. So assuming that the hardware does not come with it, to do it the way that I'm doing it, you're gonna need 16 washers, 6 lock washers, you need 6 5/16 bolts, 6 5/16 nuts. So there's what you want right there. So we're gonna go bolt and washer, and then another washer and lock washer, and then a nut on the very bottom. And then to tighten it down, you're gonna need a 1/2 inch open end and a 1/2 inch ratchet. All right, now it's time to hook up our airbags. I'm gonna try and get you the best shot I can. It's not real easy to do. So this is the part that we're having all that extra room up there in that hole is really nice in comparison to the other ones. So we're just gonna go color to color again. We're gonna hook up our orange. Okay, now we're gonna hook up our yellow. And then we've got our one little guy that goes all the way back into here. We're gonna put our clips back into position. So what I'm really curious to see is how this does when it swivels now. Look, Ma, no hands. So let's see what that did to our wires. So really the wires don't move at all because they have so much room with that huge hole that's cut into the bracket. So this can all be cleaned up at some point. I probably won't do it right now just because I think that I'm actually gonna add some stuff under here and utilize this space a little bit better than that jack storage container. That's one down, one to go. So I know one of the big complaints when you're putting swivel seats on is that it raises the seat up quite a bit. So I just wanted to see the difference between the seat height and this. The headrests are obviously up, so I'm just going to go to the top here, but it's at about 46.25, and this one is at 44.5. So it raises it up about 1.5 to 1.75 inches, I'm guessing, which really isn't too big of a deal, I don't think. So the seat height doesn't seem to be a big deal, at least on the passenger side. I'm about 5'10", but it might come into play if you're a taller guy. Now, if only I had some tables. Oh, that's better. These are coming up in a future episode. All right, passenger side's done. I'd be willing to bet that the driver's side is exactly the same. So let's just find out. All right, well, I got it to swivel with some minor adjustments. Final thoughts on these. You kind of get what you pay for, I would say. They're definitely better than the other ones from Discount Truck and Van, or Van and Truck, Discount Van and Truck, whatever. These brackets, overall, I would give them a 7 or an 8. There's some, you can tell that they're kind of just made in a lesser machine shop. They're not mass produced. There's some slop in the drill holes. There's a little bit of play in just the back and forth motion. That latch is kind of The fact that they didn't give me hardware, I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was just a mistake. That's pretty annoying to me. No instructions other than, you know, you have to go onto the eBay site. So would I recommend these? I don't know. If you think that it's worth paying almost $1,000 to have a better quality swivel, then so be it. But these cost $483, so I don't know, you get what you pay for. So now that the driver's side swivel is installed, I had a couple of people that had mentioned in an earlier video that it kind of brings up some concern with your ride height. I do notice it a lot more on the driver's side, and I wouldn't say that it's uncomfortable, but it's definitely a little bit strange. Some people had mentioned it's unsafe. I'm not really sure why, if maybe it's just the height. If you got in an accident or something, maybe this would come into play. I'm not really sure. I can still see the road really well. I know there's a couple of companies that actually make a lower seat pedestal for this, and I believe it's called Eurovans. And I could see where if you were a taller guy, that would definitely be something that you would want. For me, I think it's doable. I don't know, we're going on a road trip here pretty soon. Maybe I'll just maybe I'll make my decision after that. At the end of every video, I told you I'd give you a running total for this video's cost and then the total build cost. You can follow me through this whole build from start to finish. I'll give you a total comprehensive cost at the end. But first I want to tell you to take a moment to subscribe. We're going to do this whole van build from start to finish, and you get to follow me and my family on our journey of retirement at the age of 40. Most importantly, give me a thumbs up. That gets this video out to people who actually want to see it. So next, let's get to the total. So the van cost from the first video was $18,000. The total from video 2 was $400. That was for the rear seats. Total from this video was $483 for the seat swivels, and then about an extra $5 for hardware that I had to buy. That brings our total to $18,888. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you join me on the next video. We're gonna put some flush mount subfloors in. We're gonna insulate. We're gonna get some windows in this thing, and we're gonna get a bed. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. I'll catch you next week.